Winnebago County.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. Call the meeting to order. We have a forum to take a motion to approve the agenda in the minutes. Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, good morning, Rich.
Morning. Just kind of one major thing here is to get the approval of the Dogwood paving project. Last week I told you we had a parent little bit from Hunter Asphalt. We had 3 bidders in the project. We had Heartland, Matthew, and Euland. Over the area. The lowest bid was from Heartland Asphalt for $1,430,862.93. And I would make the recommendation, we award the contract to Heartland Asphalt for that project. It's gonna be a cold in place with 3 inches of asphalt. And to approve that, also a resolution for the county engineer to sign and Dock Express for the contract to the board.
Good. Was it pretty good competitive bids?
Yeah, I mean, Heartland was, it wasn't quite $100,000 difference between that low and second, third.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I've put in the program, I budgeted for 1.8, so that helped the program.
Good. Yeah. Resolution 2024-21 is to approve the Dogwood Avenue paving project. And also approve county engineer to sign for documents and Dock Express. A motion to pass the resolution.
I'll make a motion to pass that resolution.
All right, any discussion on any of it? Hearing none, roll call, Lowberg.
Aye.
Smithy.
Aye.
Stone. Aye. Resolution is duly adopted. Rich can sign away.
Other than that, we're gonna have to wait for things to dry out before we continue maintenance, but
You send me to scan that, please.
what's that?
You send me to scan that, please.
Yeah, what was the resolution number? Or do you wanna?
21.
Sign off, you gotta sign it else. You can send me the scan
Sure, sounds good.
or whatever. Oh, yep, we'll just. Sign feed.
He was quick.
Everybody okay?
We'll make it.
Where they're going, I thought it was.
That baby, that's the same as what they did on Rush.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but the same, the same type, yep, yeah, and then. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you wanna look at it, that the bridge is supposed to be redone, but we had permitting problems, they're not permitting problems, but it took so long that. We're gonna leave off that approach section through there, so we're not tearing up new pavement when we go through, that'll be done later on, so. There won't be a conflict of 2 construction. Processes go at the same time, but
How are the?
still waiting to get a contract back
Bridges?
from all the other ones yet.
Are defective bridges?
Yeah. So, the larger bridges like 390th Bridge and I think there's another one. They'll go through the DOT letting process, so. We gotta get it designed, and then after it's designed, it still takes that long process, so we're out a very long time yet to get those.
One over here along the river, can that be just pipes?
Yeah, they're gonna evaluate all that stuff, I think it's
Okay.
gonna be pretty straightforward,
That
but
we could
do a
it
group
local.
package and
Hopefully get some local maybe.
maybe, yep. Yeah, it'll be local construction whether we do it. I don't know that we'll do it. We'll just, if we're gonna let the whole package together, we'll have local mostly smaller ones, I think local contractors do it handle it, so.
Sure. Okay. Sounds like there's some out there might need some work.
Yeah, it's not gonna stop and it kind of stinks sometimes when you know you've got, I know I've got a bridge in Mitchell County that was fine 2 years ago. And closed 2 years from that.
Funny they go that fast.
Yeah, I know.
See the deterioration. I mean, I know we got a lot of bridges. We've replaced one there's 3 identical ones like it on the same road, like say down there in Wheelerwood down there.
Mhm.
They keep
Yeah.
making it. How's that work?
Yeah,
How did that one get
Crazy.
that?
Well, we should have some pretty good inspection numbers now with the water being so.
When the
low.
water, and that could be part of
See,
it,
right now-
part of it is that the water is lower and they can see more.
Right, because water's higher, you don't see everything under it.
Yeah, we're just gonna continue to put away at it.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else today.
Okay, you get anything, Rich? Yeah. Drainage. Val, you sent us a. Oh, we got claims, I did.
Yeah.
So that is the final for that DD2 or 72 assessment. So this is the refund portion.
So the refund that, part of that get assessed to somebody else then?
So originally, it was all assessed to the main,
Right,
but it should have been broken up, the main and the laterals.
Right.
And so some people had to pay more in and some people had to refund, so.
okay. So it's
So
all-
now we're in the refund stage.
Okay,
I only had one person that did not pay, and they didn't pay the bring all the time either, and they're buying the taxes too, so I don't receive them anytime soon.
okay,
It's a smaller amount.
taking care of them, good,
Is there a motion to approve the drainage claims?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
I'll second it.
All right, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carried. And a work order, he said that was on DD 18.
Yeah, so the Andrew tunnel that we talked about last week, I- him, and then Jacob talked to Colin Klingbeil, because they're actually reclassifying
District.
District now 3,
Yeah.
which is shared with 2 with Winnebago. So he's gonna talk to him about options of annexing him in for that. So then that water can go that way for that one. They're gonna go over numbers and they're gonna keep in contact with Andrew and figure out the best route.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're probably looking at both directions, they would see what the best feasible.
Yeah.
route to go.
And he did tell them that if those lands get annexed into 3, he will still be assessed in 18 and also 3, so.
Yep.
They'll technically be in both.
You could just
But
have to
I
get
got the
rid of
2
water.
engineers talking to each other right now, so.
Well, it's actually good because if they're already going through that process with the
Yeah.
shared district, that's just gonna save money and.
They're right on that
Great
water
right now.
line, so it's like, I mean, you can send water both ways, you'd probably be happy because they haven't really ever grown crops down there.
Right.
And it's good ground.
Good deal.
So that's for that one, and then, yeah, that Paulson called him this morning. Which seems like that one's been an issue for a while, cause I found an old work order from
Yep.
December, so. But I can have him have Rogus just go look at
I
it.
did tell him they have Ruggles, but you can call them, remind
Okay.
them, just to make sure, or whoever you could get, I said, because Ruggles is doing projects for us right now.
Right.
They can slip down and up, and probably
Turn.
down inside be Jerry that would put down that.
Okay.
Some, but
Yeah, I'd get somebody to look at it.
like I said, he told me it's running out about a quarter full, and there's all kinds of water up, for about a mile back, there's water on top of the ground, so
Something going on there.
something's going on there.
Yeah, cause he was wondering if it's actually happening. Like that Beverly Land Company or the Ag Center.
I'm pretty sure it's from Beverly's, cause he was back north a little bit, he looked on the intake and the pile was plumb full there, and then it out, only about a quarter, so.
Yeah, come figure it out, get it fixed, and if it turns into more than that, then we'll,
Yeah,
may have to go to the engineers, so.
Yeah.
At least start with a repair.
And one more, DD 46, flat 14, Rod Nelson,
oh my god,
just suck hole that needs fixed, so.
motion to approve that.
Yep.
What you're looking for, make a motion.
No,
So I'd rather do that.
You know, I just include both those DD 18 and DD 46, you said?
46, 14.
So we got a motion to approve DD 46 and DD 18. There are questions or comments? Here none, all in favor, aye? Aye, opposed? Motion carried.
I guess I'll say that one too, then, for.
All right, anything else, Al? Thank you. That's it for today. Okay, we don't have any claims, please, any reports?
There's payroll.
All payroll claims?
Motion to approve the terms.
All right, motion to approve payroll claims, a second. I'll second that. All right, any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye, opposed? Carried.
No, no reports, no payroll, no liquor. There's a transfer.
Transfer, conservation. So requesting the budget amendment, to line item. 63,521 to reflect the purchase of our van. It was budgeted at 17,500. Like it amended to the actual spent amount of 36,960. Cover the difference, I'd like to transfer 19,460 from conservation reserve fund to that line item. Welcome to approve.
Never run into it before.
Well, they're basically, they have an account that sometimes if they don't end up spending it, we transfer it to that account by the end of the year. If they,
In capital.
yeah, if they end up going over it, they'll transfer it back. It's happened before.
So it's basically a number, an account.
Juggling numbers from stuff in capital expense, in capital outlay
Right.
that has been put there in the past.
And it was already earmarked in general fund.
Yep.
So it's just getting moved back because they spent it this year.
They didn't spend it before.
Right. I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second it.
All right, any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Let me sign it.
Sure. Yeah, they actually saved money. In planning.
Good idea.
Good.
Little bit of time. Resolution 2024-22, authorization to transfer Worth County deferred compensation plan.
We had that meeting last week.
This is for the, our county's 457 and 401 plans from Voya to Lincoln Financial Group. Enter into participant agreement services with retirement plan advisors and Vision Financial Group. Their motion to approve the deferred compensation plan.
I'll make that a motion.
Make it second.
Okay, any other discussion?
Hope the employees have been paying attention and they're happy.
Saves them money.
In the long run. All right, so I'll take a roll call vote. Lowberg,
Aye.
Smithy, Stone, aye. Resolution is adopted.
Hopefully the transition isn't too painful.
We still do a fine job. Okay, building and ground. Elevator, right, sorry, that's on me.
Yeah, and I looked around a little bit. I still can't find the guy's name and I should know it. I've
It's-
been talking to him for 11 years.
Right, it's virtually impossible to find, like I said, it was like 4 different transfers, I was in the phone, so I'll get on it, so. I see the mowing was in the paper.
I got 2 bids.
Yeah, good,
I saw somebody looking to add to their service for looking for people, so hopefully they bid too.
yeah, good, still, that's good, there's still room in people schedules.
Yeah.
They're bidding it, so. All right. I see our buckets dragging out in the front end or the north entrance, so. It's like that was taken care of.
Good.
All right, moving on to our top of Iowa water main extension project. Hi, Jason.
Morning. Couple action items on this. First will be the resolution adopting plan specs, estimate of cost, form of contract. Second will be the contract award, so. Project in general, everybody's familiar with it. 3,100 feet of 12-inch water main, connect that north water tower up, and then surface restoration, primarily seeding.
We need to open the public hearing. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I.
Or recess.
Recess, the regular meeting.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Yep, there's a motion for Mark to open the public hearing is
I'll second that.
second, Enos. All in, or roll call vote, Lowberg,
Aye.
maybe,
Aye.
Stone, aye. Okay, the public hearing is open regarding the plan specs and cost and form of contract for our water main project out at the casino interchange. Okay,
Sorry about that.
Um. So that, I guess generally that's the project, pretty straightforward, and as long as these contractors go, it's a pretty simple project, pretty attractive project, because there's not a. Many fading to fix the main, they're directionally drilling the crossing of Wheelerwood, so. Estimate of cost was $470,000 in form of contract is unit price, which is typical for all these projects, pay per linear foot pipe, for each for the valves, for. Based on an area proceeding, so. Yes, that's the project in a nutshell, if there's any questions on that.
Anybody from the public that has any comments or questions on our water main project? If not, then I will close or take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
Okay, motion by Mark,
I'll second that.
second by Enos, any discussion? Roll call vote, Lowberg,
Aye.
maybe,
Aye.
Stone, aye. Public hearing is closed. Now we'll move into adopting. The proceedings for public hearing, that adoption of plans, specs, and form contract and estimate of cost. So resolution 2024-23. First day of April 2024, plans and form of contract estimate were filed with the Office of County Auditor for construction of the Top of Iowa Water Main Extension Project. Whereas notice of hearing on plan specs and form of contract estimate costs for said improvements were public as required by law. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Worth County. Section 1, the plans, specs, and form of contract and estimate costs are hereby approved as the plan, specs, and form of contract and estimate of costs for said public improvements as described in the preamble of this resolution. Passed and approved today. So I take a motion to approve resolution 2024-23.
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, a roll call vote. Lowberg,
Aye.
maybe,
Aye.
Stone, aye. Resolution is adopted.
Just handed out the bid tab. We did open bid last week, Thursday. Get one?
Yep.
Had 9 bids on the project, I haven't had 9 bids on a project in 15 years.
It's really good for us, right?
Yeah, really good for. Generally speaking, people are really looking for work right now. Like I said, it's a very straightforward and attractive project with an excavation type of contractors. So the low bid was McKinnis Excavating out of Mason City. $374,505.25, which is just over 20% underestimate. Then I guess the high bid, just for reference, was just about 4.6% over estimates. Good bids, there's a couple of items. Couple of these contractors, if you change one item on their bid, they'd be right down there as well. All in all, I'm very happy with the bid received, and we do recommend awarding the contract to McKinnis Excavating.
All right.
One other note. Still don't have a construction permit, I'm supposed to have this.
Yeah. As I say, does our contractor know that too, that?
I talked to McKinnis and they're thinking midsummer, when they'd wanna do it, so. So we'll have, I'd like to have a permit before we sign the contract, but we can put contracts together and. Like, we have the permit in hand.
You can approve that.
We can approve the award.
Award bid or whatever you say.
Right.
Sign contracts later, however you want.
That's what we're doing.
Yep, we'll be back later, once contracts and bonds. Sign by a contractor for your approval on those as well.
Okay. Okay. All right, so,
Motion to.
yeah, take a motion to approve the award the construction contract to McKenna Excavation.
So moved.
Their second,
I'll second it.
all right, any discussion? Roll call vote, Roberg,
All right.
Smithy,
All right.
Stone.
Yeah, since Jason's here, did you talk to him about the gate on the water tower by the casino?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna have that contractor come over,
Sure, wait.
as soon as possible.
I guess I'm gonna have them put together a budget for coating the interior of that small tower too. So. It's jigsaw or wherever it's at.
But yeah, Jason, we're gonna talk to him, just let him know as soon as possible, and I said if it's gonna be a long time, let us know. We'll go get it, or send it here, and we'll have somebody else put it up, just to get it on there. If they can't get somebody over here,
I think.
I hope so, it's just, it'll take longer to drive over here than actually do the work, so. But, thank you, yeah. You guys have anything else? For Jay?
No, just I mentioned to him when we had that deal on Thursday bid opening to look at that other water tower and get that done too,
Mhm.
because there's extra funds available.
Well, that was our hope, I think, from the beginning was to get that done, because when that's empty, get it, that stuff cleaned up. Resealed, and then it's there for, we gotta put one in, you know, we gotta take the other one out for maintenance or something. We got a backup plan, so we're gonna have to bring water tanks in and all that stuff, so.
The way the bids came in, we got ARP funds to do it.
Yeah, no, that's
So, yeah, as soon as you can get them to get an estimate.
stretched out a little longer than we liked, but it was worth the wait, cause.
Well, you said it
Material
went down $8 to $8 a foot.
Right around $8 a foot from where I was told. Even three
What
months ago.
makes a difference?
That 3,100 feet.
Yeah.
It adds up in a hurry.
That alley quite a bit saving us money.
Good.
You got anything else for us, Jason?
Yeah, for me.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
I'll scan these and send them to you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Elizabeth's hers.
You here?
Yep.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
Morning.
Just mine too.
It's close enough to 9 o'clock, we'll go.
Jeez.
If you're
When
ready,
you're ready.
if not, we got a few other things we can run through, but if you're ready.
We're not gonna push you.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, this way you can keep moving too.
Okay, well, this is the audit exit conference for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023. Everybody has their books, we'll just hit the highlights.
You had one.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't put it in the stack, did you?
You put it safely.
I got rid of the others and put it in the trucks.
Okay, so, the first page we'll stop at then is page 2, Berger Company letterhead. This is the independent auditor's report. Again, the purpose of an audit is to find out whether or not the financial statements are fairly presented. An audit has nothing to do with finding fraud or finding errors or irregularities. The purpose of the audit is to find out whether or not the financial statements are fairly presented. The audit is based on tests and samples. We don't look at every single transaction that goes through the county during the fiscal year, and then real time based on our test work. So this report goes ahead and lays that out. For the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023, we have issued an unmodified opinion, which is what you want to hear. It means it is a clean opinion. We believe the financial statements are fairly presented. Now, during the course of our test work, we did find some material misstatements. So we proposed adjusting journal entries to include those transactions. Those transactions have now been included in these financial statements. So we believe that everything is fully presented here. As far as new things for fiscal 2023, this report also discusses the Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement number 96, which was subscription-based information technology arrangement. So, you know, you as supervisors approve the policy in regards to that. And then if you have any subscription-based information technology subscriptions that fit those reporting thresholds, then we'll go ahead and include that. But for this year of implementation, there weren't any that met the reporting threshold, so it didn't have any impact on your financial statements for this year. So, this report also goes ahead and outlines what management's responsibility is for the financial statements, along with the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements. And then we get to page 6, which is the management discussion and analysis. And the following pages just go ahead and give some financial highlights. It also talks about what's included in this annual report. The county does present 3 separate sets of financial statements. There's the full accrual, which includes all of your capital assets and your long-term liabilities. There's a modified accrual set of financial statements, which mirrors the GAAP report that Jackie has to submit to the Department of Management. And then because the county budgets on a cash basis, we also do an actual to budget comparison that's included in here as well. So this just goes ahead and explains all of that. There's also some comparative financial statements comparing fiscal 22 to fiscal 23. The county also had a chance to talk about what happened with the budget during this fiscal year. So we have some budgetary highlights, and then also there's a little blurb about next year's budgets and rates where the county is able to talk about what the thought process was looking into fiscal 24. So then the actual financial statements then start on page 14, and we start with a full accrual financial statements, which again includes all of your capital assets and your long-term liabilities. We have the statement of net position that's presented as Exhibit A, and the statement of activities, which is presented as Exhibit B. So this is going to most likely look what you would see in the private sector with a balance sheet and income statement. So we present the governmental activities and then also the business type activities, being your water and wastewater. It's out there. So last year we had presented a net pension asset for the IPERS obligation that is calculated by the actuaries that go ahead and do that for IPERS. This year, we're back to a liability. So that was kind of a one-time deal where we had a pension asset. So the actuaries for IPERS now have calculated a liability that is included in their financial statement. So that's kind of the big thing, I guess, that changed for this year. If you're looking at Exhibit B on pages 16 and 17, this is the income statement for the county. We did have a positive change in net position of about 5.7 million in total. Of that, 5.8 is related to the governmental activities, and then the business type activities saw a $96,000 loss this year. So, and part of that is probably due to not increasing those water wastewater rates and getting that ordinance in place, but that's going to be a finding again in the back of, something we'll talk about when we get to the findings in the back. So, other highlights about this, so you're spending your ARPA money, so we're going ahead and we're showing that as well. You collected a lot of drainage assessments this last year as well, so there was a lot of that coming in as revenue for this fiscal year. Okay, Exhibit C and Exhibit E, these are the modified accrual financial statements, and they mirror what Jackie has to present to the Department of Management as the GAAP report. This does not include capital assets or long-term liabilities. This just captures that 60-day accrual period. So again, it's called the modified accrual basis. And then Exhibit D and Exhibit F, those are the reconciliations. So that steps you through how to get from the modified accrual to the full accrual. So it shows you the whole conversion process and gets you from one to the other. Then starting on page 29, we have Exhibit G, H, and I for your proprietary funds. So we present the wastewater and the water funds, and then also your internal service employee group health fund is presented with this. I know health insurance is something that the county, all of the counties that we have struggle with trying to budget for and trying to guess what the rates are going to do each fiscal year. For this fiscal year, we did have a net income of 137,000 in that employee group health fund. That's a positive thing. A lot of counties did not see any net income for this year, so it's good to see that you've got a little bit of cushion in that fund balance. But again, claims are unpredictable and you never know what the rates are gonna do, so very difficult to budget for them. On Exhibit J and Exhibit K then, these are the fiduciary funds. It goes ahead and gives a snapshot at June 30th, what the balance sheet looks like for the funds in which the county is a fiscal agent. So like your assessor, your 911, your schools, your corporations, your accountants, that type of thing. So that shows a snapshot of that balance sheet at June 30th. And then the following page, page 33, shows the activity, the ins and outs for this particular fiscal year. So then the notes to the financial statement start on page 34. And I am gonna skip over most of them unless someone has a specific question. Again, this just goes ahead and summarizes a lot of accounting policies and procedures. There's a lot of accounting definitions. There's amortization schedules for your debt. There's some additional disclosures that are required for your pension plan with the IFRS. Again, there's about 5 or 6 pages of actuary provided information. So if you need help falling asleep some night, you can grab that and read note 8. It also talks about your insurance, that you're a member of ICAP. So we've got some disclosures about that. We do talk about the accounting change where GASB statement number 96 was implemented. And that's really, there's not much more to say about the notes unless somebody has a specific question on one. The next place I want to stop is page 63, and this is the budgetary comparison schedule. This is that fast basis presentation where we go ahead and we show the receipts and disbursements for the governmental funds. And then we also compare that against we present the original budget and then the final budget amendment. So the column that's titled less funds not required to be budgeted is your drainage because it's not included in your budget documents or your cash basis financial reporting. So we show the net receipts and then again, we present the original budget and then we present the final amended budget at the end of the year. There are several large variances there, but all of them were able to be explained. For instance, the capital projects line item has a $7.9 million variance, and that's due to the budget being amended for the issuance of the debt and the anticipation of the road project. Now, again, that debt wasn't issued until May, and the budget was reflected to show that and to account for all those expenditures, which, the project probably didn't. So that's clear. So, even though that is a large significant variance, it's easily explained, so it doesn't present a red flag or any issue there. The following pages then are some more required supplementary information about the budget and also about the IFRS reporting and also about the other post-employment benefits reporting. Again, just presenting more actuarial information and some 10-year comparisons there. On page 73, then we start the supplementary information. In the front of the book, we present general fund, rural services, secondary roads, highway 105, the debt service and capital projects as major funds. And then we also present a fund, a column for the non-major governmental funds. And so all of these smaller governmental funds are aggregated and presented in the front as non-major. So schedules 1 and 2 kind of give you the detail for those smaller non-major governmental funds. And then the same with schedules 3 and 4 that follow. This is with your custodial funds. So again, your assessor, your ag extension, your schools, your county, community colleges, corporations. It goes ahead and gives the detail for those smaller funds. And then schedule 5 on page 81 and 82, that gives you a 10-year comparison of your revenues by source and your expenditures by function for your governmental funds. So that brings us to page 83, which is on Gardner and Company letterhead. And this is the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance. And in addition to opining on whether or not the financial statements are fairly presented, you are also required to do some test work on your internal control and your compliance with the Code of Iowa. So again, this testing is based on tests and samples. We don't look at every single transaction that might have had an impact on the findings. And then we report based on what our test work is. So you might have, we might pick 5 transactions, they might all be fine. But, you might have 1 or 2 that maybe weren't, but we didn't pick up for testing, so we're not going to, have a finding there. Or you might have done everything right except for 1, and we might pick that 1 that you messed up on, and then we have to report on that because we picked the 1 that you messed up on. So this report goes ahead and kind of lays the groundwork for that. The actual schedule of findings then starts on page 85. The first one we have is the segregation of duties finding, which is in every single audit report that we issue for a local government, just because you don't have enough people on staff to entirely segregate duties. So it's possible that the same employee could handle a transaction from its inception to its completion. So, the departments and they're doing what they can to separate their duties as best they can. But again, when you only have a couple people in the office, that's hard to do too. So we do have that finding. The next finding we have is the preparation of full disclosure financial statements. This one is in probably about 98% of the audit reports that we issue. Because we assist with the preparation of the gap report and the preparation of the full accrual financial statements and related footnote disclosures. Because we assist with that, we're required to have a finding on it. The next one then is on page 86 with the financial reporting. During the course of the audit field work, we did find material amounts of revenues, expenditures, accounts receivable, and opioid settlement amounts that had not been properly recorded in the county's financial statements. So adjustments were proposed and made to include those transactions in the financial statement. So, you know, with the accounts receivable, it's difficult for the treasurer's office to know what's going on in all the rest of the departments. So it's really important for the departments to let them know in July and August when those revenues are coming in, if it was for the prior year, for the current fiscal year. So, and with the opioid settlements, that is something that was new for fiscal 23. The state auditor's office had gone ahead and prepared some documents documenting what each county was going to be receiving. And so we've gone ahead and set up a spreadsheet that I think I've already sent to Jackie. And so that way, you guys can go ahead and track those receipts as they come in, because it's going to be coming in over the next 17 years. So we've got that spreadsheet established. So you know, Jackie's office can go ahead and track those opioid receivables as they come in, and she'll be able to provide that documentation when we come for the audit, so this finding will be resolved. We can get that. Okay, so then on page 87, we start into the statutory reporting findings. And the state auditor's office provides us with a Code of Iowa compliance guide, and they give us specific things that they want us to test every year. They give us things that they want us to test every couple years. Then they throw in a couple things for fun, you know, every 5 years, they'll think of something new they want us to look at. And so then we go ahead and report accordingly. So the first finding that we have is in regards to the budget. And during the year, we had disbursements in the disaster services department that exceeded the amounts that were appropriated during the year. And then also, Worth County continued to budget expenditures from the mental health service area, which the Senate File 619 eliminated that fund at June 30th of 2022. So there shouldn't have been any activity or anything budgeted, shouldn't have been anything paid out of that fund during that fiscal year. So, you know, that's, the departments need to watch their appropriations. You know, they're the ones that are responsible for those appropriations and that spending, and they need to make sure they're letting Jackie know when they need to have an adjustment, whether it be an amendment or just an increase or decrease in appropriations during the year. And then the mental health fund is now dead and gone, so we won't need to worry about that in the next years. So the next thing on this is the questionable expenditure. Now for this fiscal year, we did not identify any expenditures that we believe were questionable during the year. Now, that's not to say that there weren't any. It's just to say that the ones that we selected for testing had a proper public purpose. So, like I said, very important. We don't test everything that goes through the county's books. So this is just saying that what we tested had an appropriate public purpose and it had the documentation. So, you know, continue to be vigilant, continue to look through those claims, continue to ask questions, because we've been, you know, questionable disbursements can happen at any time. So on the next page, then page 88, we have the business transactions listed, and these are the related parties. The Code of Iowa identifies $6,000 as the threshold for a potential conflict of interest with a related party. During this fiscal year, we did have two that were over that $6,000 limit, but because they were entered into properly, you know, with the Knudsen Automotive Service, you know, Dawn doesn't participate in the acquisition of the services, and same with Lori with the Springer Construction. They don't participate in the acquisition of the services. So this just becomes a transparency disclosure, and there's no fighting associated with it because the transactions were entered into properly. Okay, so then we can turn to page 89. The board minute finding. The board went into closed session on December 15th of 2022, and there weren't any minutes taken for the meetings. And chapter 21 of the Code of Iowa kind of dictates how those meetings should be handled and what needs to be documented. So the board just needs to make sure that all of those closed sessions comply with chapter 21 of the Code of Iowa. The next finding then is related to deposits and investments. The treasurer's deposit and investment policy just needs to update to include the verbiage that includes chapter 12B and 12C of the Code of Iowa. So I can provide Jake with a sample of what is, considered acceptable at this time, and it just has to acknowledge those code sections. And then also stamp drainage warrants aren't included as a allowable investment specifically. And since they are investing in those drainage warrants, we like to see that specifically listed in that investment policy as being approved. Investment. So, but again, I can get Jake a copy of a sample, and it's just something that needs to be approved by the board, and then that it will be resolved as well. The next finding we have then is in regard to the tax increment financing. And there was each year, the county and the cities are required to certify their TIF obligations to Jackie. And then she gets the wonderful task of reconciling those every year. And so for the December 2022 TIF reconciliation, it resulted in a negative TIF indebtedness amount for the Worth County Consolidated Urban Renewal Area. So just need to make sure that the obligations are greater than what has been collected and dispersed. And I think that's already resolved because there was more obligations that that should be resolved for the next year. And then also it was noted that there was a payment for the continuing disclosure fees and publications from the TIF fund, and that's not allowable either. The only thing that's allowed to be paid from those TIF collections are certified TIF obligations. So if you want to go ahead and make those payments, if you want to pay for those expenses out of the TIF, you can. You just have to make sure that it is a certified obligation and it needs to be included on your December 1st. To the Jackie. And then the last finding that we have is in regards to a public hearing. And during this last fiscal year, the county entered into an installment purchase agreement for election equipment, but a public hearing must not held. So anytime the county is entering into a long-term obligation, you have to go ahead and have the public notice. You have to have the public hearing. You have to jump through all the hoops in order to be in compliance with it. And that could be, if you're getting a purchase agreement, if you're entering into a lease, if you are issuing debt, if you're doing interfund loan.
Maintenance contracts. We're just looking at one right now, like our elevator. So if we have that, or our generators, we sign maintenance agreements for 3 years, 5 years, for them to come in and just do regular maintenance.
Those you don't.
Okay. Okay, that falls under the lease. The
It depends on
50,000.
how many, it depends on how much it is too.
Yeah, as long as we stay in that 50,000 when it comes to that, right? Okay.
Questions, concerns? There also were some non-report findings that we discussed with the department while we were here. But they weren't significant, so they didn't make the book. Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't, the big one is the water and wastewater rate ordinances and getting that updated, because this says that it was fiscal 2016 was the last time that those had been updated. And now is that those funds are starting to, or continuing to see a negative position change every year. It seems like, we audit several cities too, so it seems like people are happier with small increases every year. You take a big jump, and that seems to be when you get people's attention, so.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky situation. We're just being 5 or 6 customers out there.
Yeah,
But we are working on that. We've had some changes in one of the hotels out there. We're trying to get that all incorporated in with this as well. So it's been a bit of a long-term process, but yeah. Hopefully that's the last time you'll have that discussion with us.
well,
It will be this year too. Bill.
It's in there, but I'm just saying. It's a little bit.
as that balance is starts to, go negative, it just becomes a bigger concern.
Yes.
All in all, you think we're okay compared to other counties? Look good or look bad?
It's hard to call right now because with the whole House File 718 and that disaster.
That's what you guys call it too, huh? A disaster? Be polite.
Yeah, we have a better name for it, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, being recorded.
Yes, exactly. It is posed so many challenges for so many of our counties. And it's caused people to be creative in how they're gonna pay for things and what they're gonna cut and what they're gonna do, and I've heard so many ideas on how things are.
It wouldn't be so bad if they didn't tie our hands so bad, but we can't. You can't make cuts sometimes even, you know, that you probably should be making, to make this work, but there's so many restrictions to it that it's just ridiculous.
Well, and I just don't know that the people in Des Moines that made this decision understood what they were
They
asking.
didn't. They did.
So,
I know, obviously, we talked with surrounding supervisors and they talked to their legislators and they said, oh, we didn't see it that way. We didn't read it that way.
Yeah.
Well, screwed it up for us. Now it's done.
Yeah.
So there's not very many supervisors or auditors or anybody that are happy with the legislators on that file.
well, and when they can't explain it to you, you know, that is what a really
Exactly.
frustrating part is, they voted for something that they don't
Understand?
understand.
Yes, I agree.
And it has such a big impact on all of the counties,
Mhm.
so,
Cities as well. I mean, they're taking it too, so.
You see them fixing it at all?
Not this year,
not this
they're
year.
already done.
I know there's a lot of discussion, I know the state auditor's office has their ear to the ground on it too, because, you know, it opens the can of worms for potential fraud, potential, I mean, it just makes everything a little more risky. So I know they're kind of keeping an eye on things, and I've actually had discussions with a couple people in the state auditor's office just this last week. And what do you think? And, you know, what are your client, because we audit 10 counties and then I consult on 5 additional ones for this last fiscal year that we have. So we're one of the bigger firms that talk to more counties, and so, we've been having some discussions about, you know, what can we do? Working, when you have counties that are not giving raises and asking employees to pay for health insurance with not giving a raise, and you know, they're talking about cutting recorders' offices and having that, you know, those duties split between a treasurer's office and an auditor's office, and, you know, totally getting rid of the recorder's offices, and, you know, the cuts and the creativity are just.
We're okay now, but the next few years are gonna be much fun around here. We've accepted that, just hopefully everybody else can accept it
Hard
too. and-
decision.
This is our good year.
Only if you don't want.
And it wasn't fun this year.
There.
That's what we provide. Yeah.
But the legislature has to do, there's something coming, because they know there's counties out there that can't get there in 4 years. They can't get to that 350.
Yeah.
So there's something coming next year.
Just with a mathematical
With
equation.
your
It's got nothing to do with
equation.
You can't get there, you could get there.
You can get there.
without.
Well, you can't get there because we thought about going under the 4.12. And then they came back and said, no, you gotta hit that number. You gotta steal from supplemental and stick it in there. And we just found that out, what, January, December?
They need to do it with restrictions and let us make the cuts if they're gonna do it. If we need to be at 350, then they would let us do it. Just that simple, make the cuts and,
Well, and the notifications that Jackie was required to send out
yeah, it's
this year.
ridiculous. They
Yeah.
did fix that though. They gave them
Yeah, they did a
notification.
change on that.
Like Last week they did, there was something on those notification deals, Jackie, that went through it, we thought on ISAC.
Well, and I was at, you know, I was
Maybe I'm-
on site at a county, doing field work after those came out, and I can't tell you the number of elderly people that came in with that notice, and they were so upset because they'd already paid their taxes. They thought it was an additional tax and that they had to owe it. And, you know, I can't tell you how many people came in and were questioning and confused, and, you know, they're trying to explain it, and then when they get their tax bill in August, they're gonna be back in because the documentation that they got in March isn't gonna match.
We wanted to inform the public, but the public looked at it and said, what is it?
Exactly.
And nobody can read it and understand.
Nobody can read it and understand it.
Yeah.
It's even the full picture.
No,
No, it was just the larger levies, you know, it didn't have the assessor levy and ag extension and all, it didn't include all that. So when they get those tax statements and they see that final levy and they're gonna say, hey, wait a minute. This is different than what I got in March. And it was a huge expense for the counties too, to go ahead and, you know, we had some counties that they stuffed all those envelopes in-house. We had some that outsourced, and that's expensive too.
the budget, you all of a sudden you got another $100,000 expense.
Right.
Fully bucket.
From big counties, it's done a lot of letters.
I've sat through 8 budgets, and I think this was probably the first budget year that we actually had people come in and ask questions. And it wasn't huge, there's other counties that had a lot more people knocking on the door than, one of the first time we've had actually people questioning what's going on.
All based on that letter.
On that letter.
I don't even know how to read it.
Well, maybe that's a good part about that letter, was it actually brought people in to have questions, but yet it had nothing to do with, in a way, well, it's more taxes. Well, you know, it'll be another year because they're not even working now down there, so they're done.
Yeah, and the other frustrating part is so many of the state offices are working from home or remotely at this point too, and like I said, with all the counties that we're in contact with, all the different offices, all the different departments, I know everybody's struggling with just getting information. So I know that hasn't helped the process either, so.
Well, they've scrambled to make this work too.
They have.
Wouldn't wanna be them right. Especially Department of Management.
Yeah, they're.
Oh, yeah.
Department of Management's getting it from everybody on this level and. Yeah.
Then you throw monkey wrenches like EMS in on them too.
Yeah. Otherwise, that's virtually impossible, but. Lead the way there. All right, any other questions for Elizabeth?
No.
Thank you.
Others for
Thank-
me?
Still
Thank
waiting
you.
for one.
Okay, who's? Is it, I'll go see him right now.
Yeah, go,
Does he
yeah,
have it?
it's on my desk.
Okay.
I
You have the rest of them?
feel like I should have to remember.
Get whatever example, yeah,
Yeah,
give him the example that he needs so we can change his policy, so I just want. Wipe off a report too.
oh yeah, and like I said, that's an easy thing, because like I said, I've got a sample and it's just, it has to update the verbiage to have those specific code sections, and then it needs to specifically say what the drainage one.
That's
Sounds good.
why you did that subscription one.
Yeah.
While Elizabeth was here.
Yeah, and that was one of those things that ISAC was going to go ahead and provide samples, like they did, because they did for the Gatsby 87 when that came out. Between ISAC and the state auditor's office, they had just distributed samples to everybody, and they were gonna do the same for 96. And
I can't keep all the numbers straight. I don't know how you do.
all right, well, I don't, you said those letters on here.
Yeah,
I'll grab those and
well, hopefully they're visible. Teresa should be able to find it.
all right, okay, well, if you need anything, let me know.
Think we're okay, thank you, Elizabeth. You too. There. Good for another year, right?
Or
All right. What do you get this one? Actually, Melissa, Winworth Betco, you have anything going on today?
Oh, just Wednesday, there's that Papa John Road Show in Northwood at the Olson Community Room at 1 o'clock.
Good, I don't know, see if maybe somebody can make it there.
Sounds good.
have to jump back real quick.
Yeah.
I
I was like, for you to step back in. Here.
oh, sure,
So I'm
go for it.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, I'm gonna go back to change of public hearing time for the fiscal year 24 budget amendment.
I double booked again,
Uh-oh,
so we move the hearing to 8:45. That's what's gonna be in the newspaper.
8:45 on May 13th instead of.
Yep, instead of 9.
No,
I thought it would be public hearing for May 13th at 8:45.
There's a motion, there's a second it. Okay, any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Alright, motion carries. Keep the service, nothing going there, department head discussion. Anybody?
I've got computers I'm putting in this week for the recorder's office, so they're getting new computers this week.
Got police cars coming yet?
That's gonna be the last week of May.
Okay.
They're still scheduled for then.
Sounds good. Other department heads? Okay. Supervisor Weekly, Enos?
Oh, I just sat in on that. Joint DD 2-3 and it's a reclass with Winnebago County on Tuesday. And then I was here Thursday for the bid opening on that water main extension with Jason, so that was my week.
Mark?
Iowa workforce development, just basically renewing some contracts for fiscal agents and things like that. And then Central Iowa dealing with pension on Friday. Some interesting notes in there. And I don't know if Dan or anybody else buys these county vehicles or, due to the state bid. He claims he can buy vehicles cheaper directly from the dealers than he can going to the state bid, so. Might be things you can look at going forward, less hassle, less. And the way we buy cars, you might not be buying from your local guy, but you know, maybe you can, and that's great. They noted too that some of our issues down there, and they're not issues, we're having longer stays, kids are staying up to 30 days now. Typically, I don't know, it's court systems, they can't get them where they need to be. Used to be 7 days, 10 years ago, and now we're 30+ days, and a lot of those are pretty bad criminals. We've got murderers and things like that in there, which makes it tougher for us, but. With the new addition to the unit down there, that's helped us segregate all that and keep the kids a little more calm. We've had a few less riots down there in the last 6 months than we did here a little while ago, so. Plus we got more of the adult wave kids that are there longer than they should be, but not good, but, and then we discussed what they call the exigent policy, which is kids that are troublemakers. So as they get warnings or naughties, you can say against them, the daily rate goes up. And, you know, some of the counties are fighting that because they've got some pretty extreme kids in there. So going from a regular rate to almost, you know, $400 a day versus. That's why you see some of these counties with, you know, $30,000-$40,000 a month. Doing the pension bills, but they're fighting and doing budget amendments for. So that was there, and then we've also been questioning, as people then questioning the director. On what his duties were and stuff, and we actually have about, there's 10 staff members, 10 department heads, and then Tony himself. And what was I really like to see is, you know, this is a nice little colored pie chart. But the things that they handle down there, you know, we do employee records, fiscal, drug testing, transportation, and detention. Every one of these employees can step up and do the other person's employee job. They can all the way up to the director, because we always said, you know, Tony, what happens to you if you get a long-term disability where you can't be there running this center? Who do you have to step in? He's got 10 people that could step in and run that center. So cross-training and utilizing employees is second to none in this location down there. So I found that pretty interesting. So that's what I had.
That's a good deal.
Yep.
I just sat in on the joint drainage meeting too, or phoned in on that. That's all I had this week, so. That it? Anything else to view on the future agendas?
Trying to keep it all in there. You guys see anything missing?
All right. Nothing else, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, aye. Meeting is adjourned.